Good evening, everybody, if you're in Ukraine, or good morning here from the US. Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly Education USA Ukraine lecture. One of the most common questions we get asked is, can I work in the US while I'm studying or after I finish my studies? And the great answer is yes, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. So we are really grateful that we have two wonderful speakers here with us today from Brookdale Community College to tell us everything that you need to know about working in the U.S. during or after your studies. So thank you so much for joining us. Lucyna Wadych-Ketley, originally from Poland. We're very happy to have you with us, and Dr. Janice Thomas. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to both of you. And if you're watching currently on YouTube, just know that we will have time for questions at the end. So you're welcome to type your questions into the chat in YouTube, and at the end we will answer all of your questions. So with that, please take it away.
Thank you, Nellie. And I know Sasha is working in the background as well. So thank you so much for inviting us to be with you and to talk about employment options. Employing and working on campus is also a topic that all of our students who are enrolled at Brookdale are always very, very interested in. So I am happy to be presenting with you this morning here in the US and this evening in Ukraine with my colleague, our Assistant Director, Lucyna Wadych-Ketley. And Lucy, you can advance the next slide, please. So I will first tell you a little bit about Brookdale Community College. The picture that you should be seeing is of a group of our students who are have joined us in the fall term, and this is our orientation picture. So we hope that many of you will be have the opportunity to maybe come to Brookdale or come to another school or university in the U.S. Next fall or next January, whatever your plans may be. First, I think I'd like to tell you a little bit about what is a community college, because that is not an educational type of institution that many around the world are familiar with. So next slide, please. The community college is focused on 4 types of programs. First, we are an open access institution. So we admit everyone who applies to us, but that means that not everyone who comes to the community college is ready to take college level courses. So we provide foundational studies, including English as a second language. We offer associate degrees. So we offer some technical degrees, the AAS, Associate of Applied Science. These are degrees that lead to employment straight away, such as automotive technology, digital animation design, or nursing, healthcare. We also offer degrees that allow you to transfer to a 4-year college or university to complete your bachelor's degrees. And these are Associate of Arts and Associate of Science. And I'll say a little bit about that on the next slide. And finally, we do certificates and training programs for members of our community. So our mission in the community college is to provide access. We want you to have access to educational and training opportunities. Thirdly, we provide these opportunities in a very affordable way. Our cost of tuition and training is typically a lot less than a 4-year university. And third, we offer high quality. So we do all of this high quality. We try to make our programs affordable, and we try to ensure that you have access to education and training. So Lucy, if you'll go to the next slide, I want to, this shows a good picture of what the pathway is for high school students here in the US. So students have an opportunity to go straight away to a four-year college or university, or they can start at a community college and then transfer to the four-year college or university. The end result is the same. You will still end up with a bachelor's degree in your field of study. And the good thing about the community college is that in the first 2 years, you are taking the same courses that you would be taking at the college or university. But again, you're doing so at a much less cost and high quality. And if we go to the next slide, we just like to point out again some of the benefits of the community college. I'm sorry, I need to tell you where we're located. So Brookdale is in New Jersey. We are, Lucy, I think we advanced a couple of slides ahead. I'm seeing the...
No. That's what we have, where we are located, wide variety programs. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So Brookdale is located in New Jersey. Our physical campus is just about an hour and a half south of New York City. We're west of Philadelphia, east of Philadelphia, along the coast. And we have 6 locations in our area. And of course, in terms of location to you, we're 0 hours away from you if you are enrolling in any of our online programs. Okay. Next slide.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is wide variety of academic programs.
Okay. And so Brookdale offers a number of academic programs that are available to you. We have English as a second language, which is offered both online and on campus. And we are 42 transfer and we have 2+2 transfer agreements. That means you do the first 2 years at Brookdale and the second 2 years at a university. And we also have 3+1 transfer agreements. And our 3+1 agreements are really fantastic because, again, you're saving more money taking the same courses at Brookdale that you would take at a four-year university. 26 vocational programs, and we offer 6 of our degrees fully online. And our majors are in business, social sciences, the health sciences, humanities, and science, technology, and engineering. And I think with that, just a brief overview of what a community college is about and the types of academic programs that we have available here at Brookdale, I think I'd like to pass this on to Lucy.
Oh, we still have about clubs and sports.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, clubs and then reasons. Yes.
Yes. So in conclusion, many great reasons to attend the community college. We're just like a four-year college and university with opportunities to be engaged outside of the classroom as well as in the classroom. I believe this presentation will be available to you, so you'll have an opportunity to click the link at the bottom of this slide and to kind of hear the words from a current international student. But you can be involved in a great international student association. We have athletic programs, we have honor societies, and these are great ways to meet other students, engage with your faculty and professors and other administrators at Brookdale. Next slide. Okay, so in conclusion, yes, the top reasons to attend community college: high quality, lower cost. You can transfer to any institution in the U.S. So it doesn't matter where you start. You can transfer to schools in New Jersey. From Brookdale Community College, you can transfer to a school in Ohio, in California, in Florida. Our system in the U.S. is designed to make it very easy for you to transfer from a community college to a four-year university. We have flexible English proficiency requirements. We are open admission, so we will test you and find out if you need English as a second language. We will provide that for you. We have small class sizes. Our professors are focused on teaching. We talked about the clubs and sports and opportunities to engage in those activities. And one great advantage to attending a community college or starting your education at a community college is optional practical training. And Lucy will talk about this in her section of the presentation, where you are eligible for practical training, to apply for practical training at the associate degree level, completing the community college, and again when you complete your bachelor's, and again when you complete your master's and your PhD. We often have very modern facilities because we have to be responsive to needs in our local communities. So we have to, stay on top and make sure that our facilities are always up to date, offering a variety of academic programs. And because we focus on small classes, our students have really, really great student support. There's excellent student service that's available in the community college. Okay, now I think I'm ready to hand off to Lucy.
Yes, that's me. Thank you, Janice. I want to talk now more about what kind of employment possibilities are here for you when you come and study in US as a F1 student. So first of all, we want to talk about what it is employment and what is the definition of employment. Basically, anything that you do for some kind of return. It can be money, it can be paying somebody tuition for you, or providing supplies. Anything that is done as for the return, it's considered employment. So we encourage everybody to look for the employment. As soon as you come to US, you will have the option to find a campus employment. You don't need any special permission to do that. And that's available straight away. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. The other off-campus employment is available a little bit later, but there is also 3 different types of employment. First is Curricular Practical Training, shortly called as CPT, Optional Practical Training, OPT, and employment based on economic necessity. So I will talk about each of them separately. So as I said, on-campus employment eligibility is very easy. You can start to work on campus as soon as you come to US. If you are eager to work, you can apply straight away. And we have some students who do it as soon as they come. They apply for any job. The best time to do it is usually in the summer before the semester starts. So if you come a little bit earlier, you can apply. And this kind of employment is really good also for you to learn language, to interact with people, to build your resume. I was an international student at US. I'm originally from Poland, and it really helped me to understand different accents, to get more familiar with, American culture. So it's also a type of learning outside of the classroom. You also earn your own money, so it gives you more independence. But of course, when you're working, you need to remember that your main goal in US is to study. That's why you have to be full-time student first. And then when the school is in session, you can only work 20 hours per week. When during vacation, when there is no classes that are required for you to take, you can work full-time if there is an available position like that. And there is no extra documents required to be employed on campus. After you get your employment letter, you can go to Social Security office and get Social Security number and start work. So what kind of jobs you can find on campus? It depends, on every institution, but usually you can find works as in places like library, computer lab. If you are smart in math, you can probably be tutor in the math lab. You can work in the reading lab, writing lab. As an international student, if the campus, if the institution offers your language, you can work in the language lab. You can work also in the bookstore, cafeteria. You can work as a tour guide or student ambassador. We have this kind of position in our school where you give information, you help with all kinds of clerical duties. For graduate student, you can also teach or be research, have a research assistantship. So that will pay for your school and give you some extra money. So this is some kind of options for on-campus employment. And now I'm going to move to off-campus employment. So as I said before, it's not available straight away because the first rule is to be available, to be eligible for off-campus employment, you have to be at least one academic year in F1 status. So that means you have to have spent at least 2 full semesters, spring and fall, or fall and spring, in your F1 status. After that, you can apply for off-campus employment. You have to be in good immigration academic standing, showing that you can perform well as a student. Your CV's record have to be in active status. You cannot violate your status. And the same rule applies as the work on campus. You need to, if the school is in session, classes are in session, you can only work 20 hours per week, and then full-time during vacation. And for this kind of job, you need a written permission. That permission depends on type of the off-campus job. So first one that I really encourage everybody to take opportunity of, if they can, is curricular practical training. This kind of employment is not available for every major and not available at every school. Our school is kind of fortunate, and we have a lot of majors that could use that opportunity. Curricular practical training is directly related to the program that you study. It must be the integral part of established curriculum of that program. And so the best example, for example, the best example in our case is our culinary program. For if person would like to become a chef and learn to cook, they have to spend at least one semester, one summer working in a restaurant and learning how to cook there. So that's the integral part of established curriculum for every student in that major. So that's why they can work and we can authorize them for curricular practical training, because otherwise they won't be able to graduate. They might be similar situation for car mechanics or I don't know, other majors. But sometimes if this kind of work requirement is not built into the curriculum, there might be a class that it's called internship class in a particular major, like business internship, journalism internship, and we have lots of classes like this in many, many majors. So if this class is not actually required, but the student receives credit for taking that class, taking internship class, they can do it as a CPT. So what that means, basically, students have to do it before they complete their studies. It cannot be done after, they finish all the school. So this will be part of the studies. They have to find employer specific job offer before they can be authorized. They need to write specific learning outcomes from that job experience. And based on that, they will receive a grade for their work. And that CPT authorization comes from your college international advisor. So it's really good opportunity. And I'm sorry, you cannot do it after you graduate. So that's why I encourage students to do it before they graduate. And there is another way to work off campus. It's called optional practical training, shortly OPT. And this is 1 year of full-time work. So if people take CPT before, that doesn't take time off the OPT. So you can work a little bit more than 1 year by doing CPT and then OPT. And what is good about it, it's you can use that 1 year of work any way you want. You can start while you're still taking classes by doing pre-completion OPT, or you can wait until you finish your classes and then do post-completion OPT and do it full time. Again, the same as other practical training. This employment has to be directly related to your major of study. The idea of this training is basically learn in practice what you've learned in your school. So see how you like it, see how it works in the real life, which is basically practical learning. And if you decide to do it, it's really great experience for you. For a whole year you can work. And I always encourage students to, while they're at school, please concentrate on school, get the best grades you can, and concentrate fully on studying. After you finish your studies, take full year of optional practical training and work full time, concentrate on your work. That's, I think, the best option. You apply for this benefit to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and you receive an employment authorization card based on that. And for this employment, you don't need to find any employer before you apply. You may not have an idea where you're going to work. You just apply. Usually the processing time takes 3 months. So you apply ahead of time and look while you're waiting. So this is really excellent opportunity. And that's the advantage of being a student of, not going straight away to 4-year school, but doing the community college path first. Because after completing the associate degree, you have completed the level of study that gives you option to do 1 year of OPT. Then when you move and transfer to another school and do bachelor's degree, you have an option to do it, another OPT. After you decide to go to the master's degree, you can do another level and so on. For doctorate, you can do the same thing. So this gives you advantage of extra time spending on working. So what that's actually what I was talking about. So after completing each level, you are eligible for 1 year of OPT. Another thing I didn't mention, because at the associate level, it's not yet available, but at the bachelor level, if you are in a STEM major, science, technology, engineering, of mathematics, you will have an option to apply for additional 24 months of OPT after completing one of these levels. So that's the STEM extension, which gives you a lot of, 3 years of working with either the same company or similar companies in the same area, which gives you a lot of practical knowledge. And very often that also leads to employers wanting to keep you and applying for you for work visa, H-1 visa. So later on, we will have questions. If you have any questions regarding employment, CPT, OPT, community college in general, we will take them from you. I want to talk about one of the employment option that is recently more and more people applying for it. It's employment-based, off-campus employment based on severe economic necessity. This kind of opportunity is also available after 1 full year being an academic student, being in the F1 status. But also it's only available for students who are suffering from severe economic hardship based on something that was completely unforeseen, coming from circumstances beyond your control. Very often it applies to people who went through, if the country, for example, went through natural disaster, something like hurricane, maybe some economic difficulties, change of government. And recently what's happening, everybody's suffering because of pandemic. Maybe somebody who was a sponsor of a student lost the job. Maybe some people got sick, some people died, and students suddenly cannot support themselves, cannot pay for study, because the main source of the support is gone. So that gives them possibility to apply for this benefit. And as I said, to qualify, you have to be in F1 status for 1 year. You need to be in good academic standing and, of course, immigration standing to show that you can perform well at school and also work. You also apply to U.S. Immigration Services for that employment, and you will get an employment authorization card that is valid for 1 year at the time and or until the date of your I-20 or program, whichever comes first. So if you, for example, have more than 1 year left and you still need help after 1 year, you will be able to apply for renewal of that card. So, I'm sorry. What is different about this employment and the previous employment? It's not this work doesn't have to be related at all to your program of study. It's not practical training. It's just basically job, any kind of job that helps you to pay your bills, pay your tuition, to help you to survive. So, but the same as the other job authorization, you cannot work more than 20 hours per week during academic year because you have to study first. But when there is a summertime, holidays, school vacation, you can work full time. So you can ask, okay, there is some works opportunities, but how I will find a job or internship in the country I am completely new to, and I don't know anybody. So there is lots of help here in every school. Usually we have a career center that will help you with, first of all, making sure you know how to present yourself, how to write US-based resume, CV. It's different than a lot of European countries. How to prepare for interview. They have also a job database when certain employees looking for students, and you can belong to that search and apply. Colleges often organize job fairs where you can go with your resume and talk directly to the employees, meet them face to face, introduce yourself. And the other very important type of looking for a job is networking. It's a big word now, and it's a really true way of finding a job. You can, establish when you have a good grades in your classes and you have a faculty who's teaching you, how to repair cars, architecture faculty, and they have, they see you're a good student. You see that you're working hard. They may have a friend or somebody who is looking for a person to hire, and they can give you, some kind of direction where to apply. Administrator at school, the same thing. Your friends may be working somewhere, and they can tell you that to apply a specific place. So So that's the way of finding jobs. Make sure you not wait for that until you complete your studies. Start early, start preparing yourself straight away when you come to US. And that's the end of our presentation. We would like to hear from you. If you have any questions to us, we would like to answer them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that thorough and clear presentation. I see that we already have some questions in the chat box, so we'll turn to those in just a second. For those of you watching right now on YouTube, please continue to type in your questions and we will answer all of them. Just to highlight a couple points for clarification. So can you get paid for curricular practical training for CPT, or is that only for school credit?
You can get paid.
Okay.
It depends on situation. You can get credit, but also be paid. It depends what kind of job you find. So yes, in our case, most of our students get paid.
Okay.
So for example, if we are studying, if students study education and they find job in daycare or school, they work there, they learn something, they produce the learning outcomes, they write a paper after that, or some kind of you know, I don't know, journal, but they earning money.
Okay. And OPT is deductive, is that correct? Meaning that if you do, let's say, 3 months of OPT during your studies, then after you finish your degree, you can only do 9 months. So it's 1 year in total, right?
Yes, correct. It's 1 year in total. But remember, if you do it during the studies, you can only do part-time. So 6 months part-time, it's counted as a 3 months full-time.
Okay.
So you have to do a math. So if you use a whole year pre-completion OPT, it means that you only use 6 months of full-time.
Right. Okay.
So you still have 6 months of full-time left.
Okay.
Some students do that too.
So I see here that we have one question about sort of community colleges in general, and then we'll turn to OPT and CPT questions. So one question here from Oriana, she asks, speaking about F1 students, I was told that international students can only take 3 credits in an online class, but you mentioned taking ESL in an online format only. How can this be possible?
Okay, I'll answer that. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I put in some earbuds. I just want to make sure they're working. Great. Yeah, that's a very good question. So if you are studying, have applied for an F1 visa and you are coming to the US to study, you are correct. You are limited in the amount of online courses you can take. So the way we explain it to our students is if you want to take an online class at Brookdale, you have to take at least 9 credit hours in a face-to-face format. And then you can take those extra 3 credit hours online if you would like. So to maintain your status in the US, a minimum of 12 credit hours if you are an undergraduate student is required to maintain your status. If you are a graduate student, a minimum of 9 credit hours is required to maintain your status. So you just have to make sure that you're doing either 9 in the case of undergraduate students in a face-to-face format, and then you can do a class online. Or if you're a graduate student, you'd have to do at least 6 credit hours face-to-face, and then you can do 3 credit hours online. Brookdale also offers fully online programs. So if you are not applying for a student visa, and if you want to study at Brookdale as a fully online student, you can do so from Ukraine. So we just wanted to let you know that there are two ways that you can study at Brookdale, kind of as an international student. You can come face-to-face and be here in the US, in which case you're following the immigration rules, or if you choose to stay in Ukraine, you can begin studying ESL online. You can take some of your classes online. We offer business online. So that's the difference. But thank you for that question and giving us a chance to make that clarification.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was Oriana who asked that. Yeah. So many colleges or universities may offer like ESL programs, but they're not degree programs. So, you might get a certificate or something like that, but you're not getting a full degree. So that's possible to do right from Ukraine as well. Okay, and one more question, actually two more questions about community colleges before we turn to OPT and CPT. How far in advance should international students apply to community colleges, and are SAT or ACT required for community colleges?
Great questions. Again, because we are open access, we tend to be very flexible, and there's a term called test optional. So most community colleges are not going to require an SAT or an ACT score, and many of us even waive TOEFL and IELTS scores because we can test you on our campuses. So, and the reason why the other reason that we don't require those scores is because if you need additional help in English, if you need additional help in math, which is kind of unusual for international students, but if you need the help, we're able to offer those courses for you. And in terms of how much time you should apply, we advise our students to apply at least 6 months in advance of the date you would like to enroll. But most community colleges offer very flexible admission deadlines, and some of us operate on rolling admission. But because you need to plan for scheduling a visa appointment and arranging to send your academic records and arranging to gather your evidence of financial support, that will take some time. So we advise you to start the application at least 6 months in advance.
Wonderful. And that's another great advantage of community colleges, is that their deadlines are much later than for many four-year colleges and universities. Great. All right, let's turn to some OPT and CPT questions then. So our first one is from Diana. Even if I am studying to get my master's degree at a university, so let's say it's a 2-year program, do I still need to study at least one academic year before applying for off-campus work?
Yes, that's required for any degree. The only thing is, you don't have to be full academic year in like that particular institution. If you were already studying in a different school for bachelor's degree, and then you moved to the next school, that year in the previous school is counting. So if you're studying 2 years before you were somewhere before, then you can apply some cases straight away for CPT or OPT also. So it's, but if you're just starting as an F1 student in United States and you didn't complete 1 year, you cannot apply for off-campus.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to add that with curricular practical training, since that work authorization has to be related to your institution's curriculum in some way, either required or if there's a course that's offered, each campus will have its own policies with regard to eligibility for curricular practical training. So you might find that some campuses are very flexible and, you know, and there are many, many opportunities, and other campuses might be a little bit more conservative in terms of how they apply those benefits. But in general, in terms of the immigration rules, you know, students are generally eligible to apply for these benefits after 1 year of being in F1 status.
Mm-hmm. And I think you addressed this, but just for clarification, Oriana's asking, is it true that F1 students can work full-time during the summer session? I was always told that it is not possible.
Yes, it's true. If you can find a job and if you are, you know, off campus, definitely you can work full-time. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you know, even at the college, there is an option because college often have summer session. We have 3 summer semesters that are not required for international students. They are optional, but, you know, we still provide services and there are some on-campus jobs available.
Mm-hmm. Diana asks, if I get a STEM extension after I graduated and got my diploma, can I work full-time or still no more than 20 hours per week?
STEM extension is post-completion. So post-completion work is always full-time. So if you're doing post-completion OPT and then STEM extension, it's always full-time. So you will be working full-time.
Mm-hmm. And how can a student get a STEM extension? Do they have to apply for it or do they just get it automatically?
No, you have to always apply for it. Unfortunately, we don't have this option in our college, so I'm not very experienced with that. It's for starting with the bachelor's degree. So after you transfer to 4-year school, there are specific rules for that. I think the employer has to apply and you know, nothing comes automatically. That's what I would say. But it's amazing opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing is that every college and university that enrolls international students is required to have staff available to help the students understand what their rights are and to understand what their benefits are and to help them apply for these kinds of benefits. So even when students leave Brookdale and they are engaging in their 1 year of optional practical training, we are still required. We would do it anyway because we love our students, but we're required by law to still maintain contact with you and contact with our students. And the same thing, if you are graduating in an engineering field from a university and you're eligible for an additional 24 months, the international advisor at your at that university is still going to be in touch with you to help you with any questions and any problems that you might have while you're in that period of optional practical training.
Yeah, I just want to highlight that as I think one great strength of the U.S. education system is that there is just awesome support for international students. So for those of you watching, I know that this is a lot of information. It may be confusing, but just know that there are people on campus whose job it is to support you. So you can always turn to them for questions, whether it's before you enroll there, either during the application process or once you get there, and even afterwards, as Dr. Thomas just said. So please know that you are not on your own to figure this out. People are there to help you. Deanna asks, is the amount of years working during OPT registered somewhere? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but that's all very carefully documented.
Yes. Yes, it's part of, every international student has an electronic record starting from the time that the institution admits you and issues your I-20 form. That becomes part of your electronic record, and everything that you do as an international student is stored and recorded in that record.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. Oriana has a rather specific question. She says, I'm about to finish my associate's degree, and I was told that I can start my OPT in August, but it means that my OPT will not last 1 year, but less than that. Do you have any idea why? So is there any reason why a student would not be able to start OPT directly after graduating?
I don't know. You know, every student's case is, when you get down to a specific question like that, we probably would need to have a little bit more context from Oriana in terms of when is her program finishing, when did she apply for optional practical training, is there going to be any kind of a delay? So that's one. We may not be able to give Ariana an exact answer, but Lucy works, day to day with OPT applications and advising our students. She's our team lead in this area. So I don't know, Lucy, if you have any other insights that you can offer Oriana.
My suspicion is that happens with our students sometimes when they wait too late to apply for OPT. The application for OPT window is quite large. You can start applying for OPT from 90 days before your graduation date up to 60 days after you graduated. So it's a big window. And if people apply early, they can, start earlier, because the time when you wait for your employment authorization card is usually 3 months. If you wait all the way until 60 days, then you wait another 3 months. So then you will not get the whole year, because you need to complete OPT within 14 months from your graduation. So that's you cannot go over. You cannot wait half a year after you completed your school and then start working. So basically, that might be the reason if somebody, applies too late, they cannot complete the full year of OPT.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like, Oriana, it might be a good idea to contact the International Student Services at your individual college, because they will know your case and be able to help you out. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to put out a last call for questions. So if you're with us online, this is your last chance to type something into the chat box. And then I have one more question. How much should students expect to earn through on-campus employment? So can they, expect to pay for all of their tuition by getting a job in the library, for example?
I don't think so. I mean, the job on campus varies. I know that per hour rates depend on what kind of position you have. Might be $10 per hour, 12. Some jobs are better paid. Like tutoring may be better paid, 15, 17. Some like learning assistant job might be 19, 20. So I'm not sure exactly. So a lot of students, I notice also in our school, you can have a degree from your home country already, a bachelor's degree, even master's degree, but you want to come and start your education from community college just to learn the system. And some of our students manage to, find a job as a learning assistant, even instructors, based on their previous degree. So they will earn more money this way. So
but I would say most campus jobs, students will earn at least minimum wage, which could vary from state to state. On our campus, minimum wage is between $10 and $11 per hour, and some of our campus jobs do pay $12 an hour. At the graduate level, if you are earning, if you have received a graduate assistantship, where the assistantship typically will cover your tuition, will pay for your tuition, and then will give you a monthly stipend. So that those types of jobs probably pay a little bit more, depending on the program, depending on how that assistantship is funded. So yeah, it really varies. But in the case of just straight 20 hours per week on-campus employment, students should not expect to be able to cover their tuition and their living expenses. This is money to really help them with incidental expenses and to maybe help with books and supplies, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Great. So it's always important to diversify your financial resources, right?
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I'm not seeing any more questions. So I want to thank you both so much for joining us today. I know this is a really can be a complex topic. And so it's been really great to have you guys explain this all to our students.
Good.
I'm assuming that students can find you guys online, get in touch with you if they have any further questions.
Yes.
Yes. We have a next slide is our contact information.
Oh, great.
I think I cannot, I cannot, I see. Yes, you can find us online. It's www.brookdalecc.edu. You can email us. I don't know if this will be available to you, but we'll be happy to answer any questions. Of course, we would like to have you as a future students. You can come from here, you can go anywhere. We have a lot of international students from 45 different countries. I'm a former international student from Brookdale, and I love this place. I never left.
Wonderful. Well, I hope we'll get some Ukrainian students on your campus in the fall.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you, Nellie.
day.
Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.